they come, we'll go ahead and start, as well as approve our two council members.
How did she know me? Are we unmuted?
Yes, we are.
There you go. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome those that are online and those that are in the audience today. My name is Brett Johnson. I'm the vice chair until our chair arrives. I will call this meeting to order. I'd like to just remind that public comment are noted on the agenda items and will be offered prior to any council vote. And so a reminder again that if you do plan to make comments, turn those cards into this mail. Ms. Jackson, excuse me. Ms. Jackson standing in for Ms. Bale from here at this point forward. Ms. Jackson, could you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Chair Jones, Vice Chair Brent Johnson,
Present.
Paul Mitchell,
Here.
Commissioner Cummings,
Here.
Superintendent Hannah,
Here.
Judge Barbara Hogg. Here. Mark O'Brien,
Here.
Allie Richards. Here. Austin Vanderlinden. And Melissa Walker.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Mr. Chair, if I could make a motion to allow Commissioner Cummings and Ms. Walker to join the meeting via Zoom. Or is that what we're doing virtually?
You may make that motion. There's a second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, so I'd like to welcome council members Cummings and Walker. And let the record show Commissioner Cummings and Ms. Walker as present.
Thank you.
Item on the agenda is approval of the agenda, or the next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Sure, with the agenda.
Okay, I will second that. We'll lose it. I second. And we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the next agenda item is general public comment. So, Ms. Jackson, do we have any general public comment at this time?
Yes, sir. Ms. Barbara Nix.
Before we start the public comment, could I just get a reminder out on what the conditions are around the public comment, any time limits that we have on those, please?
Yes, can you please state your first name, first and last name, your address, and then you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes is the.
Good afternoon.
Okay.
Thanks so much for allowing me to exercise the privilege of speaking as a citizen. I'm so happy to be here and so happy to be a part of the United States of America. I love children. I know you can too. It is my pleasure and my privilege to teach children on Sunday morning, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. My degree in elementary education was received from FSU, and many of you have been there as well. My purpose in coming today is to just say, please don't increase our taxes. I'm a widow twice. I was employed by the Leon County Clerk of Court for 20 years and retired 23 years ago. So if you do a lot of math, you'll figure, how in the world did she get here as old as she is? But here's the deal. I love kids. But I also want to ask you to remember that senior adults have limited income and limited amounts of money. And we're asking you to consider rolling it back to the 0.3353 rate and being accountable to find out what's being wasted and spend it responsibly. I spent a few minutes with this blessed Holly over here today, and she went over some of your numbers. And I thank you that you are accountable for the $9 million that you're going to be spending when you roll it back to 3353.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up is Miss Emily Fritz. Please approach the dais, state your first name and last name, address, and have 3 minutes.
I'm Emily Fritz. My address is 1433 New Parade Drive. I'm here today to ask that you adopt a rate that's even less than the rollback rate. There is no such illustration on your document, but you came up with a number that, say you decided, well, let's raise $5 million. The property appraiser could give you whatever that millage rate is. The reason I'm suggesting this is because it's my understanding that you've got $4.2 million left over from previous years that you can roll over into this upcoming fiscal year. Over the last 5 years, you've collected $40 million from the taxpayer. And frankly, the results, I don't think anybody sees $40 million of results. I think it's great that the school grades have improved, and maybe the CSC had a little bit to do with that. But I think the bulk of the lion's share of credit, that's going to go to the school district. And thank Rocky for that. And I can thank Daryl as well. But perhaps you need to take a year, which will be a halfway mark on the life of the CSC, and sit down and analyze every single program in great detail and evaluate what the outcomes are. I know you're going to tell me we've done a lot of stuff. We sent 20 kids to X camp, and we sent 30 kids to Y camp, and some program here and some program there. Well, activities are the same thing as results. You can do all sorts of activities, but if you don't have outcomes, you've really not been productive. And you spread the money all over the place. That, I mean, this time last year, you funded 137 programs. I know that number is higher now. That is way spread too thin. So take a breather, analyze what's good and what's not good, and quit funding programs that don't actually give results. When the CSC was presented to the voters, they were promised that the money would be invested in evidence-based programs. I do not know what percentage of the money has been in evidence-based programs. I think it's a fairly low percentage. So if you put pen to paper and really analyze the results and slow down a little bit, for the next half of this life of this program, you may get better results. Thank you very much.
We're going to take a quick pause. Hello, everyone. I apologize for being late. We'll take a quick pause. Today is an extraordinary day. Today is the birthday of our executive director, Ms. Sika Green, and her husband and son are here to salute their wife. Marvin Green and Marvin. On this special milestone. All right. Do we have any more speakers?
We do, Mr. Chair. Mr. Klein Miller is next. Please approach the dais, first and last name, address, and you have 3.
Yeah, Klein Miller, 2344 Kilkenny Drive East. And I'll be very brief. I just wanted to agree with this this lady here. Yeah, I think we should roll it back to the, 0.377, roll back to this. I looked at the year-to-date detached family, homes sold in Leon County, and a year ago, the sales price was up 4.3%. So obviously, the tax base is down, and I think y'all alluded to that in your numbers, about 5%. So I think with the increase in the property values, at the rollback rate, I think there'll be plenty of funds coming through the program. So I think we should really look at that. And also, I had a follow-up. A year ago, we talked about maybe getting a grant writer and writing grants. Because at the time, we knew the property taxes might be eliminated here in the state or reduced. And I think Mr. Mitchell said there was approval for that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Has that ever been filled?
We don't do questions back and forth.
Okay, anyway, I think there was some approval. I don't know if the position was filled, but if it wasn't, it might be a good opportunity to get that bill and try to get some outside funds. This thing passes in November. It's going to be a substantial decline in revenue. That's really what I gotta say. Other than one other question, how many minutes do I have?
A minute 38.
Okay, I'll be real quick. I'm looking at the contract staffing. Is that additional staffing that's not full-time employees? Is that what that is? Okay, anyway, I see some contract staffing in there, so I didn't know what that was. Staffing service, $112,000 for the term. Maybe someone can elaborate on that later. See what that is. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Speak up, point of personal privilege, and this time last year, we were talking about administrative costs for Children's Services Council. And Mr. Miller is here, and I clarified, I think, the second meeting, that the Children's Services Council of Leon County does it a little bit differently than other children's services councils and trusts, in that we don't roll salary dollars and contract employee dollars into programs. We're going to footnote it in this year's financial report. And that would, to the outside person looking in, give the administrative cost, it will look higher for Leon than it will other counties. So whether you like the number or not, if you're going to compare, it's important that we compare apples to apples. And I want to point that out in case anybody is looking at our administrative costs versus the other 12 councils and trusts. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. We will continue with public comment. Are there any more speakers?
Ms. Letitia Vivas. Please state your first and last name or address, and then you have 3 minutes.
My name is Fish Davis, and I live in 6 miles all my life, and I feel like I prefer to roll back millage rate. Please do not. Do this. One of the roots struck what you've done. It doesn't feel like you're all that money. So I appreciate it.
Additional speaker.
Mr. Andrew Jones. Miss Andrea Jones, I apologize.
You call it whatever you want.
Hello, good afternoon, Chair Jones, council member. I appreciate your time today. And my name is Andrea Jones, and I serve as the vice president of the board for Oasis. And on behalf of that board, I wanted to express my gratitude for the continued support of the CSC over the last 3 years. It's been a collaborative partnership in creating a positive impact in our community, so thank you. We understand that CSC Leon must be a careful steward of our public dollars. We appreciate your diligence and attention to that matter. And on a side note, I'm speaking for the board, but personally, I'm a retiree. And the actions that I take, whether it's board volunteering or like volunteering for different nonprofits, or the money I donate goes toward the pound of pure. I believe that diligently. And on behalf of the board, I know that the staff and the board as well hold that same diligence with the funding that we receive. We are committed, very committed to continuing those efforts. The CSC Leon funding helps us reach children and families who might otherwise have limited access to high quality programs and supportive services that reach our community. They provide prevention and intervention, early intervention. These services help address challenges before they require more costly responses. When children and families have access to supportive programs, our community can reduce the likelihood of academic disengagement, family crisis, youth involvement in unsafe activities. They can address the unaddressed mental health needs, children care, child care, and workforce disruptions, and more intensive and expensive interventions later on. We want to expand our access, not restrict it. However, we cannot provide the same level of service with significant lower resources. Maintaining the millage rate allows the CSC Leon to continue investing in services that strengthen families, support health, child development, and reduce future costs. Together, we can continue to prioritize prevention, stability, access, and opportunity for all of our Leon County citizens. I thank you for your time and your consideration. And once again, I want to say that we appreciate your support of the programming that CSC has been supportive of, and not only to Oasis, but to all of our neighbors in Leon County over the last week. Thank you very much.
The additional speaker.
No, sir.
All right.
I filed the card.
It was submitted it for the millage rate, and you identified millage rate, so there'll be another opportunity.
She might have to do a session, she can do
For
it.
general comment.
Oh.
All right, we'll hear her, call her name.
Martha Robbins.
Ms. Martha Roberts.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. And thank you for serving on an important council that reviews and judges the effectiveness and the planning and the expenditures of the taxation to provide services for children. I think we are at a very critical time now where I would support that we have the rollback rate or anything less. The rollback rate will give you the same amount of funds that you have currently for your budget. And I do think it's an opportunity, if you could, to review the programs for the most effective. Our youth and our children are the resource for the future. Again, I appreciate you serving on this council, and I think it's a good time to review the programs. I could not find any statistics relating to the number of children served within the individual programs and the information that you provide. And I think it would be well to at least ensure the most effective programs, how they're being served, and to find some sort of metrics for evaluation as to what are the most effective programs. But again, supporting that rollback rate, it will give you the same funds. Thank you very much. I apologize, I did not give my address, 5268 Valley Road, Tallahassee, Florida. Thank you.
But we want to thank all of our speakers for their engagement, they provide their perspective on the activities concerning the Children's Services Council. Thank you so very much for your interest and for your presence. Next, we will go to.
Mr. Chair, if I could move the consent agenda.
All right, there's a motion for consent. Moving to consent, is there a second? Okay, Second, Mr. Chairman, I did have a comment.
So we can make the comment now. I know we have, I already read the motion.
I apologize if this is out of sequence on this, but I did have a couple of edits to the minutes of the council meeting from June 18th that I would like to consider before we adopt. On page 4, under item 12, I believe that's an incomplete sentence. Page 4, item 12. We'll memorialize these, and then on the next meeting dates, I think there should have been the July dates. Again, that's not significant, but there was a comment that the chair made about the responsibility for the nominating committee that I think should be memorialized. Item 12.
So we would,
I will.
All necessary edits and.
I will still move the consent agenda with those edits, provided by Mr. Johnson.
And I will second.
The accountant being the grammarian.
No, trust me not.
I thought that was my job. All right, it's been properly moved to second. All those in favor of consent agenda. The necessary corrections, signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, the ayes have it. Superb. Everyone, I'd also like for us, I'd like to ask that as a part of the executive, I should have said it before now, but as a part of the executive director's report, I would like, and it's included in there for this to be accepted under consent. I would like for us at the end of our meeting to talk about the Girl Flow Period Project and product drive that will support providing necessary feminine hygiene products in all of our schools. This is a real challenge. One of the things that in fact it was a process that was started by one of our former students, student who is a student at Rickards and president of our student advisory group. And it provides those necessary items for our schools. And so now our director will provide an update on that activity and our participation in the same with your adults. So we do that by consensus at the end of our meeting, talk about that project. And also I'm grateful that our flagship hospital, Tallahassee Memorial Hospital, will also be a part of the period project. So we'll hear about that. All right, thank you, everybody. Now we'll have general counsel update.
Shortly, that process has started October, early November. It's finished by calendar year, every council. So we start the process in July. To that end, I will circulate the evaluation form by email. Board member next. Process result. Next, during the June meeting, I update the resolution of lawsuit that CSC brought because one of grant funding recipients suit was brought a small claims court on the basis that the funding recipient did not meet the terms for the funding. It's to provide services that proposed. That suit was resolved by entry of default final judgment council's favor for June. I presented that information discussion by the governing council as to whether or not advisable for the matter to the state attorney's office, also criminal prosecution. That is something the council, of course, up the discretion or the state attorney would receive the charge. But during that deliberation, there was a ask about the status of the city of Tallahassee's comparable suit, which they basically brought up a similar small claims action against the same company. Whether or not the city had initiated its own referral or our desire to do so. Determined since that time, the city suit was resolved a little bit earlier than ours. They wrapped theirs up in a vehicle. The dollar amounts a little less. I reached out to the city attorney's office and spoke with the city attorney, matter of prosecuting on behalf of the city, to discuss our suit, our interest in it. She was very, very helpful. She gave me additional information about their suit. She talked about it internally, discussed it internally before getting back to me. The city does not have any issue us making rural, in part of rural, mentioning that this company has not only involved in its allegations to CSC, but also to the city. If the board is trying to move forward with that referral, we would confidence with a letter presented to the state attorney's office, which I please throughout on the board's account, describing the history, the entry of the default judgment, not only in favor of CSC, but also in favor of the city of Tallahassee, recommending it to the state attorney's office. I think that's the extent we have to that. Questions?
Any comments, members?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Cummings, can you hear?
Well, hello, I can hear, but the voices are just real truncated and just real blurry. So I can't really understand what people are saying.
I know that part of the reason, Commissioner, and I will try to raise my voice so that you can hear, hopefully it won't.
And guess what? I can hear you real clear. I really hear you real clear.
Because remember, my motion at the last meeting initially was to refer it to the state attorney with hopes that he would take it and pursue it. You cautioned, and I think appropriately so, that we find out what was happening with the city, because it would show that it was more than just one, that it was a pattern of behavior with this particular vendor. And so the reason I paused and asked the chair to make sure that you could hear is because I'm going to make that motion again. And this time I'm very comfortable with the motion of moving it forward. Again, we can't control what the state attorney does, but it's $15,000. And after hearing some of the people here today, I'll bet you they'd like their $15,000 back. And if they're not going to get it back, that the person is responsible for stealing $15,000 from us and $12,500, my word, stealing from the city of Tallahassee, that they would like punished in some way. So, so that's my motion, is that we move forward with bringing this matter to the state attorney and hope that we will take it. If I may, further, if the state attorney determines to prosecute the case is seen through to its conclusion, it's possible that the defendant ordered a restitution. Restitution is basically having a criminal order in place that requires him personally to pay the funds. All right, I'll second.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, I apologize. I understood real clear, Commissioner Paul. The general counsel's comment, I could not, it was very truncated. I don't know if it's his voice or what. I do not know what the report, have no idea what he said as far as the report.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Councilmember Mitchell was real clear, but I could not understand the general counsel at all.
He'll repeat himself, Councilmember Cummings. Once more, please.
Yes, ma'am. I added that if the state attorney's office determines to prosecute either of the company in a criminal capacity, then once that criminal case played out, if he were in fact determined to be guilty of whatever the charge is, theft, etc., then he would be ordered to pay restitution in his personal capacity, not just an award judgment against the company, but he in his individual capacity could be ordered pay restitution, which means he will need to repay the money in question under threat of having his wages garnished, et cetera. That would, in my estimation, be a more efficient path to trying to actually recoup the money than proceeding in a civil matter where we attempt to pierce the corporate veil, as we discussed last time. There are relatively substantial hurdles involved with piercing the corporate veil. I think we may be able to overcome them, but it would involve a significant outlay of resources on behalf of CSC to reopen the case, to undergo discovery, take his deposition, tell release of his bank records by subpoena, and establish that he basically intended to defraud. So probably the more efficient path to actually seeing an award, if any is to be had, is to make the referral to the state attorney's office in the hopes that he takes it up and ultimately an award of restitution is granted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I actually was able to hear, I think because his face was, he was speaking toward the camera. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. May I comment, Mr. Chair?
Yes, madam.
Right. My only concern, Councilmember Mitchell, is we could get a judgment, and I think perhaps Judge Hobbs can speak to this. We can get a judgment for repayment, but if he doesn't have the money, we still in the same boat that we're in. And it could be, I guess if he doesn't pay it, then it's just reduced to to another judge just sitting there. So we could be expending all this money and still come back with zero as far as repayment is concerned. But Mr. Rowe, I didn't understand. Did you say the city has not did not file an action against him, or has not? Are they in the same position that we're in as far as him not doing any work for the money that he was given?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yeah, well, no, the city did it before us. They got the judgment before us, Commissioner.
Oh.
So both of us are sort of in the same position. And Mr. Rowe's recommendation is forwarding it to the state attorney. If the state attorney chooses to take it up, great. That would give us our best opportunity to get the money returned. And there wouldn't be additional costs associated with it for the Children's Services Council.
Okay, I understand now. So the city is in the same posture that we're in, pretty much.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
I still feel we have an obligation and responsibility. If someone is not a responsible steward of dollars, it's our responsibility to hold them accountable for that and to bring those dollars back as much as possible.
Let me just say this, I'm not speaking of the job. As a former criminal defense attorney, I agree that criminal prosecution would be the effective place to it. The reason why is because the defendant would be put on probation. If it's willfully shown that he's not making the payment, he'll go to jail. Okay? And I have dealt with a lot of defendants in my life, but the threat of prison and jail tends to make who do things they normally would not do.
That's my job.
But I'm just saying that working board is a lot stronger than a civil prosecution, because they'll put them on probation for however many years. And then the prosecutor will have a violation of probation hearing to determine if you look through violating the supervision by not paying. And they'll go through all this records, and if he's found to be in violation, then the court has the authority to incarcerate him for a violation of probation.
Now we have a motion on the floor. Is there any additional discussion?
The motion is to instruct Mr. Rowe to forward this case on to the state attorney in hopes that the state attorney's office will.
Is That's been properly moved and seconded. The only thing that I would say, without concern me, once we do this, there'll be no more of our time, our money, our resources going to recruit this $10,000.
And conceivably, if the state attorney declines to initiate a prosecution criminally, we could consider reopening the civil matter. That would come back to us. That would absolutely.
That's my only concern. I would hate for us to spend more than $15,000 billable hours to recruit. That's what I would call a tyrant victory. But I do believe that I think it is also equally important, as Mr. O'Brien has described, that not only in this particular situation, but in our documents, our RFPs, that we provide the type of strong language about our stewardship of these children's services. So it's been properly moved and seconded. If there's no additional comments, all those in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Ayes.
Aye.
Was that a delay? Was that a delay? Is that aye for or aye again?
Aye for, Mr. Chair.
Okay, no, I think there's a delay.
I think it is a delay.
No problem.
It is.
Anyone else on the call? Ms. Walker, have you voted?
Yes, this is Melissa. I couldn't tell if you could hear me or not. I'm voting for it.
Okay, and what I would suggest for both you and Council Member Cummings, y'all click your hand, the emoticons associated with it. So we're, oh, you're driving, I'm sorry, never mind. I just asked for it. I just asked for it, yeah, don't do it. All right. Next, we're on to committee reports, executive committee. That report is in your packet. Are there any questions?
That's one.
Yes, sir.
Just a scrivener correction in item number 1 of the executive committee report. Pick a time. I think the right start time is 12:38.
It was.
Yep.
All right. Is there a motion to accept the committee report?
Mr. Chair, I'll move the executive committee report with the necessary time change.
All right. Been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Got y'all. I heard something say.
If you need one for the record.
Mark O'Brien second.
All right, thank you.
All right, it's been passed, and it's been passed unanimous. All right. Next. Finance and Budget Committee. Mr. Bishop.
Okay. Finance Budget Committee met. And we discussed the budget, which is that what we have first? You guys, it's the budget. Financials. Oh, okay. One quick thing on the financials. We actually executive committee, the finance committee, I'll let you one last time. Because of when we have our meetings and when the CPA gets us our financials, we will always be reviewing the financials from the month prior. So so when you see it, wait a minute, we're in July, why are we looking at May's financials? It's just because of the calendar, the way it flows and the time it takes to close out the month for the CPA to get it to our executive director, for her to have a chance to review it, make any corrections. So it will always be a little bit behind. What you have before you are the financials from the aforementioned May of 2026. This is great. Is there anything you want to point out about the financials? There was nothing really. Not specifically. In the amendment? Okay, that's what I thought. So if there's questions about the, financials, I'm happy to take a shot at answering them, and if I can't,
If there are none, we'll move on.
okay, if we need to vote on it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm through with grammar and I'm.
You know, okay, all right, there you go.
This is this comfort zone.
No, so, I just wanted to remind us before we memorialize these that I'd asked about, figuring out why that accounts receivable from financial was showing credit when they owe us money. That will mean something to him.
Yes, he can still do that, but it's on.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Safely enough, Sharon. Or it will be, but it'll be a cleanup on the next. So still I am, well, I will move, I'm not sharing this. I will move the finance and the financials through May 2026.
Second.
All right, now, do we ordinarily do a motion for acceptance of the finance committee report?
Yes.
All right,
Remember, we pulled it out. It's part of the section.
all right. For properly moved to send any additional questions? All those in favor of acceptance of the May financials with the appropriate correction, if I'm not saying aye. Ayes have it.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I jumped to the financial report. I meant to move the finance and budget committee meeting report that are here in our packet on pages 11.
The second? Second. The properly moved and seconded that we would accept the July 8th finance and budget committee meeting report. Any additional questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
I we're now review of fiscal year 25-26 budget amendment. Commission.
I am going to allow our executive director to walk through. These are for the OCD sufferers. These will make perfectly good sense for those. And our executive director suffers with me. And so, Sika, I'm going to let you walk through the budget amendment packet. There's really nothing of great significance in terms of dollar amounts, but we are moving money into the appropriate categories. And Ms. Green, you want to talk about it?
Sure. So if you'll remember when the audit was presented, our accountant suggested that for areas where we were either nearing 100% or over 100%, that we look at doing a budget amendment. We have not done this in 2 years, so it really is, to Mr. Mitchell's comment, more of an OCD thing, making sure that at the end of the year our budget is aligned properly. So if we start under the first column is the current budget, the second column is like actual for May 2026, and the last column is the proposed amendment by line item. So the first thing I'd like to bring to your attention is under the ad valorem proceeds at 95% collection rate. Per our approved budget, we had $9,054,604. To date, as of May, we collected $8,907,656. We're at about 98%. And so we are estimating that we'll end up at about 103. So that would take us to $9,307,656. The reason why I did that extrapolation is for the first budget amendment category, which is down under collection expense. It's highlighted ad valorem collection fees. We budgeted $271,638 as a percentage of the proposed collection. We are currently at $276,226, and those are fees that we pay to property appraiser's office and the tax collector's office for collecting and distributing our revenue. It is closer to 4% in collection percentage for 3% that we normally use. So if we do that math, we're at about 372,306, and that would equate to the approximate amount of ad valorem revenue that we will collect. So that is the first line item. We can either take these by line item or we can take them all together. There are about 4 in total. So
Sure, I'd suggest we take them all together.
very good.
That amendment is truly the most significant dollar wise, and we are,
This is the by you.
yes, it has.
All right, so it's a recommendation coming from you.
The recommendation is
Have a
coming from the
motion, rather.
committee, but Ms. Reed was
I'm
gonna
just
go
gonna
through
read
the
the
other
other three
three.
very quickly. So the other areas are under cell phone system and voice over IP. That is to align with the way we are now doing business. The next one is under website maintenance. You'll see that that's going to 0 because it's actually encompassed in the line underneath it, managed IT. Go down under office supplies, postage and courier. We budgeted at $750. We're only at 16. So for this year, we're taking that down to $250, and then it's some sort of mailing. And if we go to page 3 of 4, the last one is mileage and tolls. So we budgeted at 500. We're currently at 2,300. And the reason being that when our team goes out and does their monitorings, they expend their gas and wear and tear. So we are making that more in line with our budget recommendation for next year at 5,500. Other than that, there are no other suggested amendments.
Chair, if I could, our committee did look at it, make the recommendation, therefore I'd like to move the budget amendments that just discussed by
The proper move, we couldn't any additional discussion, just,
I have a question about the anticipated revenue. You're saying that today we've collected 8.9, and you're expecting to collect another 400,000 between now and October?
That's
Is that what you're saying?
That's the estimate. When you look at the money that comes in, drop the low, drop the high, we're averaging about.
And the bulk of it does come at the end of October, beginning of November is when mortgage shutdown is paid. This screen is correct. And remember, the financials are through May of 2020. So you have June, July, August, September, with 4 months left. We have never been under our projected amount, and I think we will end up once again being a little over our projected amount for we're spending to schools.
We still receive some money in August, September, October.
We do.
Not October starts the
Next year, so in August and September.
So by way of our financial for February, so the bulk comes in December, 6.7 million. We get a little bit in November, 900,000. Get to January, it's 350,000. We get to February, 201,000. March, 145,000. April, 359,000. May, 103,000. So extrapolating about 100,000. Yep, it's in the financials on page 14.
And what do you have in August?
And, well, I don't have anything in August.
it's going to still have 4 months that are not included with us.
All right.
And while the money comes in to the tax collector's office, it like where that 900,000, they get the bulk of it, we just receive. Money is still coming.
But between 6 and 7 million the past last year, is that, right? I didn't realize still like September, August, September, there was still additional revenue.
And June and July. Yeah, June and July are not.
August and September.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's been pretty consistent. Money that comes.
all right. We have a motion and a second to accept the budget amendment as recommended by the finance committee. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 All right, it passed unanimously. Now the review of the draft fiscal year 26-27 budget. Mr. Metro.
Yes, thank you. The next shows. Here's what we did. And again, I'll see if there's something that you think is important that we point out, I jump in. But essentially what we've done is we've taken last year's budget, and along with our meeting that Saturday morning, where we did our, why can I never remember what we called that?
Strategic goal.
Thank you very much, our strategic goals. And we took last year's budget, the strategic goals that we had established for the next several years, and came up with a proposed budget. The strategic goals have different categories. I always refer to them as buckets that we agreed on funding. There is no hard and fast rule that because we've put $2 million in one budget and $3 million in another budget, that we have to stay to that, except where we have commitments that we've already agreed to. So what you have in front of you is a proposed budget. It is based on our historical spending patterns based on those categories, and it includes basically everything we funded last year again this year. So any of the special projects, those will all find their way into this total number. And is there any one particular category you want to single out, or? I know it's part of the backup, so everyone's got it in their, it was on the CSC website, but is there any one particular area?
No, I think the only thing I'd like to bring to the council's attention, so this is pretty much the same budget they've seen for the last couple of months, as we gave you the possible millage rates and what the revenue would be. What I would bring to your attention is on page, so it's page 3 of 3 of this big handout, or page 27 is under programming. If you go almost down to the bottom under undesignated funds, that is a line to which you want to pay attention, because that is money that has not been designated for any of the programming you see here. So in other words, as we are looking at our strategic goals, we think about what you approved. Particularly, I'd like to bring to your attention youth mental health, which currently don't have anything funded, and homelessness. Most likely, they would be funded out of those undesignated funds. So you just might want to keep that in mind as you look at which millage rate you'd like to put.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yeah, just a quick question. In the budget, I think you clarified this just for record, this fully funds the family resource centers that
You have approved.
and we have identified how we're going to move those funds.
Yes, absolutely. So if you go under family resource centers, which is under,
It's on page 20.
it's on the second page. You got it. Under family well-being, you will see that we budgeted $2 million, and that contemplates what you all approved for the current family resource centers and the hybrid expansion.
The other thing, though, in terms of additional dollars that we would have to be able to spend, remember the issue of reserves. And the reserves is based on a percentage. It's based on a percentage of if we're bringing in more money and going up a little. No, it's 10%. So in addition to the non-designated category money that Mr. Screen's referring to, we have both a reserve as well as carry forward dollars from the previous 5 years.
What is it that we need to do?
So here's the responsibility that we have is to adopt a budget for fiscal year 26-27, which is before you, and then to adopt a millage rate that will go as part of the trim notice. Both of those issues that we will vote again twice in public.
Is maybe bring forward a recommendation on that.
We did not for a couple different reasons. One was because we had a limited number of people that were at the finance committee, so it seemed a little, we had a majority enough to have a quorum, but we didn't want to sort of jump ahead. And two, in the past, we sort of brought all the numbers and the budget to the full committee because, well, yes, because a recommendation should be made by all.
Who's going to do a committee report, right?
On this one particular matter.
Ms. Cummings?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just need to ask a question. I've got the 1-page budget forecast. I don't think the handout was that you all are looking at. I don't think it was sent to us. Am I right, Holly?
It's in the packet on,
Fiscal year 2026 draft budget.
I printed my whole packet. I don't have it, but I can double check. I was just going to ask if it wasn't, if somebody could just send it to me.
We're going to share the screen with you, Commissioner.
Sir?
We're going to share the screen with you.
Oh, awesome. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
And also, Commissioner, just so you know, and I think when you see it pop up, you'll remember the look of it. It is what, and this screen is right, it's essentially the budget we've been looking at for the last.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I see it now. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think we went over that at the last meeting as well, right, Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
That's
okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mitchell, anything else?
No, what I would say is the committee, again, while we did not vote on budget, we did discuss it fully, and I think I speak for the rest of the committee members that were there, that we were comfortable with bringing forward this budget.
Well, that's okay. I just had a question about the order of operation. So we were gonna pass the budget and pass. Okay, so I had it wrong.
Millage rate,
That was my question.
but you were voting on
We
the
passed-
tentative millage rate.
But you have to know what the budget.
Got it right. So that's why.
That's the only reason
I
why.
thought you told me on the budget and the millage rate. I didn't put it on the budget.
Then that's what took us to the old review.
I got it. I'm okay.
I'm remembering now. Beyond the already existing level.
We're done with two things at one time. So the
Well, and let me bring one more thing, and one more thing, that this budget contemplates 4.2 million that has been accumulated over the 5 years. Remember when we had the exercise to show you what funds we had currently that were not designated to anything as of this fiscal year? It is 4.2 billion, but it is an accumulation of returned money or unspent money during the entire 5 years of the council. So I want to make that clear so that it is not thought that we collected money in the fund.
In addition, in the budget, a lot of these things may be budgeted line items, but they're not funded, correct? Other than the
Correct.
resource center. Stuff like that. If we
Well, no.
budgeted,
So in here, this is all funding that was agreed but has not gone out. So for example, the perinatal navigator program here, it would be 2 years of funding, and I'm smiling because this year we only took 1 year in. And then we'll put the other year in.
These are budgeted amounts that we have identified, and
Yes.
not necessarily programmed.
They're not under the contract.
They're not under contract yet.
And Mr. Hannah, the other thing is that there is not it's not down to a specific penny. So what we've done is just by bucket, come up with, again, based on our historical spending patterns.
And so is it appropriate now if we have a conversation about the revenue and the knowledge of the revenue and how those numbers were derived? Can I explain?
Want me to explain?
Sure.
Right, thank you.
Right. So column one, the amount, you'll see 0.3477. That is this year's approved budget. That was approved last year during the PRO process. The next column is the rollback rate. That was
And that was the amount of revenue, the 9 million, without, that generated 26, 27.
no,
That was last
this
year.
is current.
Current.
This current. Next column is the rollback rate that will get you as close to current year revenue. And so that rate was computed by the property appraisal office at 0.3353.
Okay, and so given the additional dollars in the tax rolls, value of the tax rolls, the rollback rate could give you about $100,000 more. Right?
I don't have five.
Right, okay. And if you stay the same, it'd be about 500,000, I guess.
And then you'll see in the second column that says prior fiscal year fund balance. Last year, the fiscal year fund balance was 1.3. For this year, the fund balance is 4.2. And that's an accumulation of previous years' unused funding or return funding. And then put an interest in.
The other, but beyond, I'd also like for us to consider. We talk about these fund balances and the accumulation of the same over the last 40 years, based upon what we just did in our most recent exercise of our strategic plan. Then going back to what we also established as our strategic goals, I think it merits a consideration potentially of what would be our plan moving forward, potentially RFP, an identification of potential opportunities. We're continuing to reserve money in our reserves, but if we have that money, that's based upon priorities that we will come to citizens. Provides us with an opportunity to have an impact across those different areas of responsibility and interest that we've identified as our priority. Just want to throw that out there for our consideration. And then as we look at each of the options, each brings its own amount of anticipated unencumbered monies that will be available to us. Again, another opportunity for a competitive bid process to address some of our contingent funding. Particularly now that we're continuing to capture intel on what has been the impacts of some already existing programs. Here now it gives us a chance to maybe now go back and take another bite of the apple, shine the apple, pare the apple, full of food out there, right? Dice the apple, but it gives us a chance to look at it again, here now with some empirical flips of data that can then inform some best practice, some next steps with those money. I just like us to consider that beyond this conversation. That's what we're putting out. Yes, sir.
Absolutely, but I just want to make sure to clarify, we are rolling forward $4 million in prior elections.
But if I may clarify, you're rolling that over, but when you look at added to what the projected revenue in any of these columns and look at the budgeted numbers, including programming, you don't have 4.2 million in addition. You have what's undesignated. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that was more for.
Yeah, I know.
If you funded all of the things at 100%, that's kind of why we have what's in, right? If it was budgeted out, it would just never contract.
Or
Here's what I would say is that we, and I say this very proudly of, and all 10 of the council members have been cautious about how we've spent. And regardless of how, folks who are not following it on a daily basis feel, it is intentional what we've done. And we've learned that some of the programs we should find additional resources for, and some of the programs, like whatever the guys, Mr. Williams, we probably don't get. So I I am incredibly comfortable with the budget. I think, just is that we'll be having this conversation next year. And while there will not be a $4.2 million balance, I do think we will have a significant balance. I would also point out that in this year's budget, we spent money in unexpected ways on a position for Making Miracles Haven, the Family Promise, the 21st Century additional dollars through the program with Boys and Girls Club. So even after spending all that, we still have.
Right? Yes, sir.
Yes, I shared with Ms. Green that, I have a work obligation, or full-time job required me to get back for something, so I'm trying to advance this a little bit.
All right.
Quickly, but I would, go ahead based upon.
Take off promotion.
I would like to make a motion, that we move forward with the budget with the rollback rate of 0.336, what's that, 5.3, whatever the number rollback is. But I would want to make sure we make a note that even though there has been a history, and I think you have been acting responsibly as a council, there are no guarantees that we'll continue to have rollbacks. So I think we have to evaluate this every year. But this year, yes, I would make a recommendation to approve the budget.
All right. Has been properly moved to seconded that we would accept the recommendation of the rollback rate. What was that number again?
0.3353.
335 is properly moved to seconded. Are there any speakers?
Yeah. Ms. LaShawn Gordon. Please state your first and last name, your address, and your proof.
I'm gonna use our good thing too. LaShawn Gordon, 3236 Gallup Fox Trail. Hello, everybody. I love the council. Y'all see me here all the time. I am a little miffed because it saddens me that a lot of people in the room don't see the value that you all do and the work that these programs put into these kids and these families every day. I've been doing this 23 years. I've been in this community a long time. And when you're out there amongst the people, you really don't know what they do. And unless you're in partnership with this council, you don't know how hard this team works. You all have been in existence for a while, and it's not a long-time organization, but the council has been here for a little while, and we haven't done anything with the millage rate. And so for me, it's either we need to move it up or we definitely need to keep it where it is because we cannot afford to take a hit in this community. But what may potentially go on with property taxes, the cost of milk and groceries at Publix, if we cut funding away from these kids and these families, it's gonna be rough. I sat in a meeting the other day with a young mom who was struggling and there weren't many resources, and that's with the agencies that are already funded. So if we take money away, what's gonna be next? My next door neighbor is an 83-year-old white woman who I call Aunt March. What she paid for her CSC taxes last year was $58. And she's a retired teacher. And she laughed and said, LaShawn, I will double that if that means that we are saving these kids. And so we always like to talk about, oh, our money, our money, our money. But when you break it down, it's not a whole lot of money. It's really not, especially when we talk about the trajectory of the kids and families in these communities. So for me, I've seen the extra programs that you all have funded. I capacity built 10 of your agencies, who all of them now are thriving because of the extra work and the funding that you all have been able to provide. So I feel very strongly, we don't need to be cutting nothing back. We need to maintain where we are or we need to go up. Because the more kids that we serve at this age, we break generational cycles. We break the curse. And that's really what we're in now.
a cycle of poverty that can only be interrupted through the exposure of great programs. Thank you.
Our next speaker,
Ms. Jessica Williams. Please state your first and last name. I don't see it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Williams. I live at 142 Connecticut Street, Tallahassee, Florida. I was born and raised in Griffin Heights. Proud product of it. I'm also the secretary of the Neighborhood Association. Just this past week, we had one of our own get taken away in a car accident on Plymouth Street. We had a balloon release yesterday from, I know him very well, because he was at Lawrenceburg Community Center, where I originally met him. Going to Griffin Middle School and transitioned to Goddard. You won't see the senior year. There are about 60 of his classmates, friends in the neighborhood, children that were there at the balloon. And those kids, I see myself in them. I see my children in them who are now in college at Florida A&M University, University, but the resources that this program provides for those children are extremely impactful. And I heard Ms. Siegel mention mental health. They would need those services. They would need the funding that is required for those services. Okay, I took a programming that assists with all three schools, Riley Elementary, Griffin Middle, and Godby High School. I am passionate about the work that I do, we do as a community. I promote great things are happening in Griffin Heights, and I believe that, but I need the assistance of this funding to ensure that the programming continues and grows for these children. You don't hear anything else. Please, we have fought so hard, so very hard for that resource center. And I don't know the impact that it will have. You guys don't fund it. These are real tears that I am real proud of the Griffin Heights. Please don't take this money away from us. If you don't do anything else, keep it going in here. And we can use the additional funds to help bring more resources to our kids in our community.
thank you. I also like to acknowledge that Griffin Heights yesterday on large neighborhood of the year. Congratulations. And also yesterday, United Partners for Community Services celebrated its 22nd annual United Partners for Community Services for community service. Next speaker.
Ms. Emily Fritz.
I think I'm gonna wait and support the motion.
Casey Dennis. Please make your first and last name, address, and you have to.
Casey Dennis, 8379 Gwendolyn Road, Tallahassee, Florida, 22311. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of this council. I'm Casey Dennis, CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Big Bend. I didn't come in tonight to complain. I actually came to testify just a little bit. I thank God for a council that takes stewardship super serious, and a treasurer who won't let a dollar leave this room without asking where it's going. Paul, that ain't flattery. That's honest. That's facts. That's the truth. We all know that. But hear me tonight, guys. The legislator has already voted. The decision has already been made and done. Come November, the voters of this state will decide whether to cut funding further. And if they say yes, this council has already told the community that we can lose up to $2,600,000. My question is, why would we open up the first door when the second door may already be swinging, ready to bust us in the mouth, as the kids would say? A cut is a cut, whether the voters hand it to us or we hand it to ourselves. Paul, I know sometimes y'all don't land, squarely as far as on the numbers, but we always land squarely when it comes to these kids. Definitely appreciate it. So that's why I know I want everyone to hear me. What I mean tonight, not trying to attack anybody. It's just an appeal from someone to someone who I truly trust. So here's my ask. Just hold the line, just hold the rate. Let's meet November when it comes, not one day before, not one day late. Fully funded, standing side by side, then now we face whatever may divide. If the voters say no, we've lost nothing tonight. But if the voters say yes, we still did it right. I thank you for your time. I thank this council in advance for standing in support of the kids in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker.
Peggy Bowen. Bowen. What's the last name, please? Yeah,
Peggy Bowen, 1505 Bishop Drive. A friend told me once she doesn't mind to say that is, I'll agree on that. But that doesn't seem to be what this council does. $40 million. For example, that perinatal navigator program that you have at hospital, why don't you let hospital pay for it? Why are your funds, other taxpayers paying for it? I know the hospital has its own taxpayer funds that it utilizes. Let them pay for it. Let them have that budget item on. A new project, I know that you're going to discuss later on, period flow project, providing a administrative project for schools. I'd like to request that you approve this project. Maybe just put it in the boys' box.
What? You never mind.
Mean the girls. Don't put it in the boys' box. I'm sorry. This vote. What I'd like to say is lower the millage rate to 3353 number. Property taxes are higher, and home values have increased, so even if you go back to the rate, you still gotta get your money. You still gotta be working the same function. I asked before if teenage pregnancy rates have decreased, juvenile violent crime has decreased, if preterm births have decreased. And if not, what's the point of spending $40 million on the CSC? Have any funds gone to, like, say, the Catholic Church? In town, we have a proven track record working with youth and relatively sound character. But I don't think they have. Maybe they have asked. I believe in God, family, country, and just as Charlie Kirk. And if you haven't listened to his debates, maybe that would be an eye. Oh, brilliant man. Dads are important, moms are essential, and I don't believe in funding deadbeat dads or the redistribution of wealth. That's what I think this council does a lot of. That's what this council, we're very efficient. You also work hard to try to spend your funds wisely. I understand that. You have a lot of job, but you are paying taxpayer dollars for the program. It's not your money. I don't have fake hair, fake nails, fake eyelashes, and then ask the government to help raise my kids. And said I've done without things to raise my kids, help raise my grandkids. I've done without many things so that I have the fund to raise them by the families. And I think a lot more to be done with churches and families than the government. That's the bottom line. And I think that that's all I'm saying. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I appreciate it.
Next speaker, please.
Cynthia Mallard. Please state your first and last name and your address. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Council members. My name is Cynthia Mallard, and I'm the program director at the Lisa Center for Growth. I oversee all of the direct services. First, thank you again so much for your support over the past 3 years. Your investment has allowed us to provide consistent and accessible services, not just one-time events, but sustained programming that helps strengthen the well-being of women, girls, and families throughout. Your support has helped participants build resilience, strengthen healthy relationships, develop communication and coping skills, and increase confidence in themselves. Over the last 3 years, OASIS has served 382 girls, 331 women, and 171 children with our CSC. That's 884 citizens. I want to take just a moment and share what those numbers actually represent. It looks like a mother finally being able to attend counseling after work because services are offered during evening hours. It looks like a child receiving safe supervision and engaging enrichment activities while their mom has access to mental health services. It looks like a mom having peace of mind. She doesn't have to choose counseling appointment and her child's safety. It looks like a young person learning that her voice matters. It looks like a staff member recognizing when a family is struggling and helping connect them with additional community resources before a crisis escalates. The children and families we serve are not just numbers. They are members of our community with strengths, dreams, fears, and challenges. They are our neighbors, working hard to provide stability, often while facing barriers that make accepting support difficult. Those barriers often include limited transportation, high childcare costs, mental health concerns and access, housing instability, balancing work, school, and family responsibilities while trying to prioritize their well-being. For many of our families, there is no affordable alternative waiting to replace the services that CSC supports. A funding reduction does not make the need disappear. It only reduces our community's ability to respond. On behalf of all of our staff and the children and families we serve, thank you for the support and investment over the last 3 years that has enabled Oasis to provide hope, connection, and access to services that will empower individuals, strengthen families, and build a healthier, more resilient.
Thank you. Next, please.
Mr. Irwin Jackson. Please state your first and last name, your address, if you have 3 minutes.
Very good. For Jackson, 1341 Jackson Bluff. I'm gonna speak a different side of the issue. The folks here with requests for more money. I'm here to speak for a group of tenants, young family that I went to. And you hear all the time about we need affordable housing. How many times we heard affordable housing? Don't we need affordable housing? We'll agree on that. And then you know what politicians do? They go ahead and increase property tax. Now I'm just sharing with you in the last 5 years, and probably 10, but at least 5, the property taxes bill is sent to me. The last 5 years, 10% increase per year. In 5 years, that's about 50%. Superintendent, math is right. It's a huge bill. Now, a few people may think that I pay that. I don't. The family living in my house, the elderly couple that can't afford to buy a house because there's no affordable housing, is paying the property tax. Last year, they paid about $680,000, and they can't even afford to buy their first damn house. My understanding is you talk about doing the rollback rate, is that correct? That's what the proposal has been. As someone has mentioned, my property taxes that my tenants will pay is still going to increase. They can't afford the house. How are they going to get a step up? Because they can't afford to keep up with spatial programs. I didn't like this idea, what you folks said of. Number one, this is so weird, because if I don't like what's going on up here, I can't vote yeah. I like to elect people. I like to express my opinion. I've got a cost savings, okay, one line. I've got a cost savings thing that we could do. You're talking about reassessing or reapproving all the current programs you have in effect now. So you're like contracting out with these groups. Well, we've got almost $1 million in administration we could eliminate if we allow these programs to be contracted out. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. And I do thank you for your feedback.
Thank you. Are there any additional?
Stephanie Shamato.
That's the fun way to say it.
No, that's okay. What is the last name, please? Address,
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Chair Jones and council members. My name is Stephanie Shoemate, or Shumate, and I'm the director of the Tallahassee-Leon County Commission on the Status of Women and Girls, and we're housed at the Oasis Center Women and Girls. I'm not only here on my behalf, but I'm also here on our executive director, Kelly Audi, who is actually watching from Austria because she cares so much about this issue. I don't know what time it is, probably close to midnight. But first off, I want to thank you. I know Cynthia and our board member, Andrea, have already said thank you, but we truly greatly appreciate what you guys have done, not only for Oasis over the last 3 years with funding, but multiple other organizations. And we aren't here to ask for more funding. We're here to ask to maintain. Doing some quick math, and I like to say, I don't actually do public math, but I did it right here. On average, rolling back the millage rate would be about $60 to $100 of a savings of a year. Just $60 to $100. Children's needs don't decrease when property values do. So rolling back Leon County's millage rate would significantly reduce our revenue available to support all of these essential programs funded by y'all and doing the amazing work that you've done, but would have a negative collective impact. So individual impact would be $60 to $100 on average. I'm a single mom. How for you? Some might not know that, might not actually think it. But $60 for me, yeah, that's substantial, but knowing that it's an investment in my community for all of those other children, not just my 3-year-old daughter, is huge. The collective negative impact, that could be whether children will have the access to continue to be in safe and supportive programs, whether working families have affordable options, whether organizations can retain qualified staff, whether prevention and early intervention maintains a priority in our community, and whether Leon County continues to build a strong system of support for our youngest and most vulnerable residents. The effects of the millage rollback would not remain just on this spreadsheet, which I appreciate this as an OCE, whoever said I like that, I love this. But it would actually be felt by all of the children, our parents, caregivers, schools, all of our neighborhoods in Leon County. So for organizations like Oasis, CSC funding is not just simply a line item in our budget. It provides direct services, trusted relationships, safe spaces. Thank you. So to be frank, it's about creating an opportunity for us to continue to work together to build a brighter, healthier, safer future. And it's our future. It's not just the kids that get served, the families that serve with these dollars. It's our entire community. Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate all your hard work that you did.
Thank you. Are there any others?
Yes. I'm waiting for that time, but can I say one thing?
Yes, like,
I think,
no, your microphone, let me run out there.
okay, I just think it needs to make clear to everybody that the rollback rate is adopted, there is no cut in funding. I think that needs to be made clear.
Right.
There's no cut in funding yet.
Any additional speakers? All right, thank you. Mr. Mitchell?
So then, we have a motion and second, and I do think it's important that, we reflect back a couple of years, the one other time we rolled back. One, the rollback rate as is projected here, which is always an underestimated number, is $125,000 more than we raised last year. I'm not really sure in what world that's a reduction. It isn't. So anybody who's telling you it's a reduction is misleading. When we did roll back the rate several years ago, or I think 3 years ago, the same challenge was here. And there were people who stood up and said, you are taking money away from children. And I challenged the people, and it was a successful rollback. I challenged the folks. I said, back of the napkin math, and I will bet anyone in the room, it was a bigger crowd that night, that we will raise at least 300,000 more than we did the prior year. It turns out I was off by about $280,000. That's a rollback. I don't get it. Rollback does not mean cutting funding. So if you're Oasis, where all the programs that spoke, there is an increase of 125,000. That's on paper. When the real money comes in, as it is coming in this year, we will be over what we estimated. So that 125,000, again, happy to take that with anybody here, will be somewhere around 250 to 275,000. That is not a cut. That is an increase.
Commissioner Cumming.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me ask you this. The motion, I believe that's before us, is to accept the projected budget and to roll back the millage rate to
Only to
point 3353. Is that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so does the millage rate and the budget has to be in the same motion?
The motion for the millage rate would then ultimately inform that budget, but it is for the millage rate to be voted on first. And in the documents we have gives context what that millage rate will mean to us in terms of the finances that will be made available to us.
But what we have before us is the motion that includes accepting the budget and rolling back the millage rate, correct? I just want to make sure that's what we're
So
voting.
the motion is for the millage rate only, ma'am. It's
Oh,
only
it's
for
the millage rate only.
Point 3353, which is a rollback. And then after that, we'll then take a motion for the budget, which will then, the finance committee will then further explain what the implications of that decision is in terms of what will we anticipate as the revenues associated with that millage rate.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me just say this very briefly. When the voters authorized the Children's Services Council, we were authorized to have a much higher millage rate, I believe 0.5. When we first began this council, we didn't start out with the highest millage rate that we could have adopted. We adopted a middle range. And a couple of years ago, even with that middle range, Mr. Chair, we rolled it back again to the millage rate that we have now. So we've already rolled it back from the 0.5 maximum that we could have adopted when we first, at the inception of the Children's Services Council. Recognizing that we're looking at a projected ad valorem tax reduction that's going to be before the taxpayers in November. If it passes, it's going to have an impact on the Children's Services Council. So I don't believe that we're at a position now where we really need to roll back the millage rate. And I, Mr. Chair, would like to offer a substitute motion that we maintain our current millage rate of 0.3477. And that's my substitute motion.
There a second? Bills for lack of a second. This is Mr. Hannah.
So it feels like deja vu, doesn't it? Dating back to the first time we went through this exercise. And I just want to thank everybody that's here tonight. You could be a million places. You're not. You're here because you care about our community, you care about our children, you care about our taxes, where our tax money is going. It's everybody, no matter which side we line up on. But I think everybody in this room does care about children. I remember the compromise the two of us kind of struck along with the rest of the council through the first year, because it would have been easy to rush to the top, rush to 0.5, put it to bed, and be done with it. And I'm sure a lot of other children's services councils did exactly that. They rushed to 0.5, they put it to bed, and they left it alone. They didn't go through this exercise every year. That's why I'm proud to serve on this council, because we do listen. We didn't just go out in a money grab, not knowing what we need to spend it on. We've raised $13 million, figure it out. Like, we do take the time to go through this exercise every single year to ensure that we are only asking for the things that we believe we need and nothing more. And I believe that all the criticism that this group may have taken, that this should also be noted, that we do this. I'm gonna support this method. I'm gonna support rolling it back. And year to year, we'll go through this exercise again. But I will say this, in November, things may change. Okay, now that won't go into effect until the following year, and we'll have this discussion before those decisions are made. But if that referendum passes and the homestead exemption is raised to $150,000 and then $250,000, which will affect the revenue we would generate at the current rate, then yes, we may need to increase it to offset that loss of revenue to 0.5. Not today. Don't borrow worry for something that may or may not happen. Right now, I do believe the right thing to do is support the rollback rate, generate the same amount of revenue, probably like you said, Mr. Mitchell, just a little more. We still have a good cushion, a good fund balance. Programs come to us that are worthwhile of investing. I've agreed with Ms. Fritz on the issue of we need to invest wisely and we need to really drill down on a handful of items that we feel as though are going to have significant impact as opposed to spreading ourselves too thin. I support this and I'm proud that we do go through this exercise and we do listen to everyone that's here.
If I may add, we are now in our what? Our fifth year?
Fifth year.
So when people, so we do this exercise once a year, but we as a council be pretty much monthly. And it's almost to me as if I used this allegory once before at a school district, a school building. All of us sit around this table as stewards of these resources. We have the one primarily with unanimous consent make decisions regarding the projects, funding, and the providers for which we provide monies through either competitive bidding processes or through direct contract with them to provide service. If there is any failure as described by the voices that you listen to, and that failure falls with us. If it's an ugly baby, then we are the parents of that ugly baby. Right? We are the mothers, and it is our genetics, it is our votes, our decisions that provide, that made this baby. But I don't have an ugly baby. I take great delight and pride in what we talk about on a monthly basis in the decisions that we make. I think we have been very good students, but I am as a person who appreciates the subject matter expertise of the providers who are the boots on the ground in these communities providing these services. They are not casual observers. They are the ones who are touching these children. They are the ones who are in their homes and serving these families. They don't come from some imperious place where they go to websites or look for information. They are in the homes and they are telling us that the need is great. No different than the school district who tells the community that the needs are great in our classroom. We expect the community to defer to our subject matter expertise. Why? Because we're in the classroom. We're not casual observers. We're in the trenches. We have skin in the game. Well, here now, yet again, we find ourselves in a situation where we come to this annual conversation. And yet we defer to persons who are well-intended, true enough. And yes, I'm certain that everybody loves children. They don't love this, but what I do care about are the persons who are expressing both love, care, concern, providing services, and are touching the lives of these children that they might enjoy a better quality of life. And therein lies the impact that we make based upon the decisions that we make over the course course of the year before we get to this conversation. And I just find it somewhat disingenuous that we believe in the voices of persons who are casual observers compared to those persons who we have made an intentional investment in, who we've trusted with the money, and then they come back and they tell us, paint a picture that is I would believe, a more accurate depiction of what is going on in terms of meeting the needs of our children compared to casual observers. They say that they need more. The headlines, based upon what we anticipate to have long-term impacts on our ability, both not just at the local level, but from federal and state sources to meet the demands and the needs of our children and families. So here now, while they are withholding, are we suggesting that we would do the same? Or stay the same? Oh, I'm sorry, an increase of $125,000. When we all know that the demand for our children is far greater than that. So at what point do we say that we want to increase such that, based upon the intel that we, as concerned voices, who are in this work on a monthly basis over the course of the year, who are seeing the return on our investment through the reports that are given to us by providers, the information that they're coming back and they're telling us what has been the impact of our work? Do we listen to that? Do we then find opportunities, I've suggested earlier, to find ways that we can then, either through an RFP process or through some other measures, have a conversation where we bring in subject matter experts to talk about what can be the best utilization of monies that are already available to us? I just don't believe in playing to the cheap seats. I believe the subject matter expertise of the persons who are providing these services to support our children on a daily basis. And maybe my perspective is born of, I don't know, being the school board member whose entire school district is made up of Title I children who come from working class families, who rely upon the services that these persons who come and spoken to us provide. I know that they are a complement to what we do in our schools. I know that children who are fed do well, do better when they are in school. I know that children who have alternative activities like are provided by the Boys and Girls Club find themselves involved and further than the opportunity for them to be involved in at-risk activities is diminished, right? So do we double down? Do we continue to support and provide additional services as they have requested? When they say that the need is even greater, because as costs have gone up, for all of us in what we do, we write checks, we're spending, we're paying bills, well, so are not-for-profits. And so they too are bearing the burden of an increase in cost. And yet we say, we want to just keep it the same. And here they're coming to tell us when we say, we're listening to the voices, but you're not listening to all voices. And I just believe that the subject matter expertise of these providers, that's my conclusion. Now, we have a motion on the floor for a rollback point 33. Does any of our other persons online have anything they want to add before I go to Ms. Jackson? Richardson. That's right. That's right, Fran. That's right, Fran. We love your others, but yes, Jackson. Anything else, Commissioner Cummings, before I go to Ms. Jackson? Ms. Wall?
Nothing at this point, Mr. Chair.
All right, Ms. Richards, I'm sorry. Forgive.
I just want to tell everyone thank you for coming as well, our providers and our community members. We appreciate you coming and that you're passionate and you're advocating for what you believe in. I don't believe that we'll get a position every year to go back to millage rate. We're carrying over what looks like over $4 million. And so I just believe that we have the responsibility as a board, if we can provide even that modest relief that we do. That's also.
All right, we are back at our motion. We have a motion and a second to roll back to.
Just a reminder that.
Oh, he's here? I thought he left. All right, So we,
Judge Hodges, you can vote on the budget just on.
all right then, so we'll take the vote on the millage rate. All right, simple majority. All right, is he coming? All right, Mr. O'Brien, Ms. Richards, we are now voting on the motion to roll back the millage rate to 0.3353. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Now that aye, is that an aye for or aye again? Ms. Walker,
That was an I for.
Ms. Cummings,
I vote against.
all right. Is that duly noted by the staff? And Judge Hobbs does not vote on the, millage rate. Now we're at the budget, Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you very much. This budget is essentially a carry forward budget from last year. As Mr. Cummings, I want to make sure that I am loud enough that you can hear me, but it's essentially what we have been dealing with for the last couple of months. And the millage rate we just voted on accommodates what is listed in this budget. And with that, I would move the budget.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any questions regarding the budget for 0.3353? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. You voted against? But you voted Walker.
No,
For the budget or against?
Mr. Chair, I voted in favor of the budget.
All right, so did I, so it's unanimous. All right, programming. Ms. Green.
Yes, so, Mr. Chair, we have provided the semi-annual report for the Family Strengthening Programs, October 1, 25, March 31st, 26, and the Perinatal Navigator Program, October through March. We have the accompanying summaries there, as well as details of the number of individuals served. In the case of Perinatal Navigator, new patients who were enrolled, the percentages there, the referral numbers. I think one of the things we want to really highlight from Perinatal Navigator is during this period, there were no maternal nor infant deaths during this period. Additionally, you will see participant and outcome metrics there. Service delivery for Perinatal Navigator, 4,100 with the screenings and numbers there. Service distribution by site, so it shows you where that happened, as well as other reporting consideration. For these family strengthening programs, you'll see the number of participants, that 95.5% of the participants completed their baseline assessment. And then 82.4% due for their monthly assessment completed that. Additionally, by project, you'll see the details there for Carter's Corner, Oasis Center for Women and Girls, their youth mental health, as well as the after hours counseling, and then service delivery. In lieu of time, we won't go through this entire summary, but we encourage you to review this and let us know if you have any questions or would like further information. But as the executive director of this wonderful council, what I can say unequivocally is this is proof that the money you are approving to invest in these programs is in fact making a difference in the life of the participants and ultimately.
All right. You don't have to have a motion to
No, sir.
accept that, all right?
No, sir.
So now we're on the current Naval Navigator Program, so they didn't report.
Nope, just did, so,
Oh,
she's quick.
so now the girl flow project, period project?
Yes, I'll do a quick overview of Girl Club. So, you probably remember that several months ago, fourth grade was featured in a news story about collecting period product. Well, with that, we came to realize that period product availability is a significant issue in our Leon County schools. And I was gonna say in the high schools, but considering we have a significant number of youngsters who are experiencing and receiving their period in elementary school. So it is important that we look at how we can help provide period products to our students in Leon County schools because it can contribute to absenteeism. To put this in a frame of mind, since I have the floor, I'm gonna say it. Most menstrual cycles go anywhere from 5 to 7 days. A grading period is 9 weeks, right? 9 weeks. So you could literally have experienced your cycle up to 3 times in a 9-week period. So if you don't have the products to manage that, you are missing 3 weeks, a third of a grading period where you are not in school. So we are very proud to partner with the Girl Club, which is a nonprofit that was founded by Leon County School graduate Amaya Wayman. She's received several awards, and while she has gone off to college, when she comes back, she gets back involved with the nonprofit. We are also partnered with the Commission on the Status of Women and Girls, as well as Leon County Schools Foundation, and we are working with TMH Foundation to see if there is a role that they can play in this as well. The goal is to have a launch of this special project, I call it, here in the month of July with a 3-week period. There is a donation link that members of the public anywhere across the country, nation, world can donate money directly to Leon County Schools Foundation for them to purchase products that can be distributed to all of our schools, as well as we will show donation sites where people can drop off period products. And so that is the program. As the mother of 2 now adult girls, I remember what that cost. And they are expensive. And if you are trying to manage everything else going on in your life, and now you've got girls, you got to try to manage that. So we want to try to be a part of that.
CJ, this is a project that we are promoting in the public. We're not promoting for money. It's
No,
just,
this is
hey,
not a monetary.
this is our, right, this is
So
our.
let me tell you where it started. It started in a conversation that I brought up at the school board, was about a month or so ago. And one of the reasons I brought it up is because I remember when this project started by one of my graduates at James Jefferson High School, who, like you say, is now on, is that me?
Yes.
Oh. So because I knew that it was, it had, donations had come in, at a great pace when the young lady was in high school. Here now, all of those, we have since found out that all those monies have been spent. So I wanted to convene a conversation in cooperation with the school district that was Dr. Michelle Hale, our deputy superintendent. I brought a screen engineer. So they're now convening a conversation with potential partners to include, because I'm on the TMH board of trustees, I've invited them to participate so that we can, one, be able to meet the needs of what we know is a growing interest because of, you know, the girls, you know, are earlier, I mean, younger.
Their experience.
Right.
Their period.
Yes, and so I wanted to be able to
That's all.
Yeah, I was wondering, I thought that, again, I talked about the importance of us being conveners of conversations, brokers, and so that's what we're doing, and we're also, listing others to support this effort. So that when we begin the school year, not only will our middle schools and high schools be equipped, so will our, elementary school system. And that as a part of what will be the orientation at these schools, that when all teachers will know who the source is on their respective campuses of those things.
Chair, one thing I would point out is that the link that we have, you went through this. The donate part, is, is
We're gonna get another chance.
when you click on it, it comes up as the program itself. What you're actually donating through is the Leon County Education Foundation. So anyone listening, anyone wanting to contribute, don't feel like, am I in the right place? Because dollars that you contribute are going to the foundation, and they are helping this group purchase the products.
And I just want to, again, just put an emphasis on our young. Our students started this project, and I'm grateful that the superintendent and now the Children's Services Council see the need to continue this project beyond this young age grant for those students. The idea was from our Student Advisory Council here in Long Acre since graduated to continue to maintain it because we realize that the need continues to exist. So again, acknowledge the superintendent, now Children's Services Council, the hospital, Commissioner Ms. Stephanie Schubati, right?
It's a fun one.
Amen.
There's a story for after hours.
Look here, I've called you that for years.
Yeah, it's fun. It's the fun one.
So that's the fun part. So I just grateful for all of our partners in this meeting. So to make certain that this remains sustainable.
Do we have a goal, a financial goal that, what was the dollar amount before you ran out? Like what did it,
Well,
the balance get to?
well, with the original balance was in the tens of thousands, because I know that school board member Wood donated $10,000 to kick it off, along with other persons who supported the but then those monies over the course of the last 3 years have since.
And the cost has gone up.
I can imagine. So maybe we can give $125,000. I was big.
Yeah.
Sorry, spending.
So thank you for providing that up. And I just wanted to let you all know that it was something that we were working on. I wanted to take it outside of the executive report that the public might know our interest in making certain this supporting all of the student population.
And we're putting it on our website, right? So that, yeah.
And kudos to our foundation for Leon County Schools for their continuing to manage this work. All right, with that, we have upcoming meetings and events as listed here on our agenda: executive committee meeting, finance budget, governing council meeting, first trim hearing Thursday, September 17th, 6 p.m. And the second trim hearing will be Thursday, September 24th, and all meetings are held here at CSC Leon. Are there any final comments from any of our members of the council? Council members, be reminded that Commissioner Cummings is chair of the nominating committee, serving along with Superintendent Anna and Councilmember Vanderlinden. Staff will work with her to set a meeting during August, then provide the report at the September meeting, with voting at the annual meeting in October. Any other final comments? Yes, sir.
Is there a list of PCSCs we said were established in one?
11 independent and 2.
Is there also the village, the revenue they're generating, you know, those numbers too, like who is 0.5 and who's below 0.5?
I can get it for you.
Oh, yeah.
Please email that to all of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
All hearts are satisfied, as we say. All right.
I can tell you no one there.
It's like 4 it's like, fine.
We are adjourned. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you,
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Cummings. Thank you, Commissioner Walker.
Guys,
Thank you, Ms. Walker.
thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.